Stage 7 Dakar 2022 is in the books. It was a fast one. Average speeds were super high. All our guys are in, except one, but we are on the watch. Greetings and salutations, race fans, motorsport lovers, and others, and in particular Dakar nutters. This is race day, and this is fun. It is Sunday, the day after no racing day. In the studio, I have the Horn Dog. Welcome again, Andrew. He is your proxy.
Interesting day.
Yes, it was a fantastic day.
We always say that Raceday creates the snow globe and things get shaken around. And
Raceday builds the poo ball. And yes, it hit the fan. And somewhere on the southern tip of southern Africa, close to the sea, is Steffi Vetter from the Southern Africa Dakar Group. Steffi, it was an easy day for you guys. It was a proper normal stage.
Oh, absolutely so wrong, Colin. It was another drama-filled day for the riders at Dakar 2022 as we headed into moving day, the second half of the rally. Fast tracks, tricky nav, camels, lots of camels. And just when we thought our Kalahari Ferrari, our battered and bruised Rossi, couldn't go any further, he blitzed the stage. But we're going to talk about that later.
It was absolutely magic. Now, tonight we have a special... We're going to try something new. We haven't got a guest from Saudi, not because we don't want to, but we'd have thought that we would make it a little bit interesting. Andrew has been your proxy for all you viewers, who answers your questions and queries and things like that. Tonight, it is your chance to come onto the program via Zoom. All you have to do is go onto the Racebook Faceday Facebook page and send us a DM, a direct message to say yes, you would like to be there and to come and join us. And sometime after about 7:39 and 30 seconds, we will go live with an open forum, a chit-chat with viewers live and on this with us in the studio, virtually of course, and we'll have a chit-chat about some of the opinions that run deep. So send us a direct message on Raceday Facebook page. Right, straight to some of the... It was Riyadh to Al Dawadimi. 402 Ks of racing. The bikes did it in 3 hours 28 minutes. The cars did it in 3 hours of 9 minutes. And for those of you who like mathematics, 115 kilometers an hour average speed for the bikes and 127 kilometers an hour average speed for the cars. Remember, the cars have got a top speed limit of 170 k's an hour. That is phenomenally fast.
it's very impressive. I mean, to try and average that with that kind of limiter on it gives you an idea of just how hard they were trying today.
Yeah, and Steffi, the bikes that I'm told, the factory bikes top out at about 165, 170. There's no speed limit on them. And the replica or the non-factories at somewhere 155, 160 on a good one, on a good day.
Absolutely.
Quick stage today.
Quick stage today. It was absolutely a topsy-turvy day, though. We knew it was going to be moving day, but we didn't realize how much this leaderboard would change and how constantly it would change. I mean, the drama started right before the race even started. Chucky Sanders' race was over before it even started.
How did he fall? I mean, okay, so the story comes along that, well, he's not going to make the start. He's fallen on the liaison and got hurt. Is there any more detail that's come out?
Yeah, so what we're hearing, you know, obviously he crashed on the liaison. So they had a 200-kilometer liaison going into the stage before they even started. So there they are going along. Matthias Walkner is behind him. He actually stops to help Chucky, who's now crashed, waits for medical assistance, and then carries on. By all accounts, he may or may not have broken his elbow. We're not 100% sure, but he was then taken off for hospital checks. And our double stage winner in 6 stages is now out of the race. So we're going to have to wait till 2023 to see what this boy can actually do, because I still think he can win this race.
Oh, without, I mean, we've seen that he's got the speed, he seems to have the temperament, he's got all the bits and pieces, and he's got the bike. Is there any chance that, you know, he'll do like Lazarus and Ross Branch did? They came back from dire situations. Can he make a comeback if he's sort of okay? Or is it more sensible just to ditch this one and go to the next one?
You know what, Colin? I think it depends on the nature of his injury because we don't know what that is yet. Rossi was able to get through that bleeding muscle, you know, in his thigh. He was able to come back, take the joker, not play any part in the general GC, but he can still actually carry on because of the World Rally Raid Championship points.
Yeah. Got to
Chucky
score
Sanders is
points.
a different story. Yeah, got to score points. You know, Chucky's a bit like Skyler last week. He crashed really severely. He's out the race. He couldn't even remember crashing. And I think it's a real shame. But what it did do, it shook up the leaderboard. It became a chessboard, absolute chessboard. I mean, just listen to this. You can't actually make up the script. And as such, we're going to go through it.
Okay, hold on. What color shirt have I got on?
Stop it. At the first waypoint, Toby takes the lead. Okay, so he's got 17 seconds between the top three. So Beretta pulls them back just a wee bit. Rossi, who we didn't even know was going to start, we knew, but we weren't sure they were going to make a decision this morning. He gets stuck in after a 160-kilometer high-speed crash. It hasn't slowed him down. I mean, he started in the middle of the pack. He was with our guys. He was with Sharon and JK and Stuart this morning. He finishes in 12th position. I mean, there's nothing that's going to stop that.
He was even running as high as 8th at one place.
Oh, absolutely. You know, Rossi, I think his temperament and his mindset is in such a good place. And his sheer tenacity and spirit is going to take him through. And I still think he's going to place higher as we go through this week. But then what happened 121 kilometers? Nacho Corneo, Honda, takes the lead. All right, so what we've already happened, Sam and Matthias go off. Matthias catches Sam after 60 kilometers, and then they ride together. But it was a turkey shoot. I mean, we know from the cars already that the navigation was insane. They got lost numerous times. So what happens? The back of the chasing pack, they're coming for them. Who's there? KTM. G20, Kevin Benavides takes the race by its neck.
Yeah.
Absolutely takes it. Now he's ahead of Ricky Brabeck, and Nacho snatches the lead. So what happens? We spoke about this on Friday. The Honda 4 go hunting. They hunt in a pack. They like the wild dogs in Botswana, and they're doing a seriously good job of it. Really a good job of it. CP3, Ricky Brabeck catches Pablo Quintanilla, his teammate. They ride together. And they go hunting as a team. There's just no, you know, these boys have had a strategy and it's coming to play now. We knew today was going to be moving day. Sherco Santolino, he's still up there. He goes into second in the virtual lead. But who takes over the general lead? Come on now. Yamaha, Adrian Van Beveren, he's right up there. He's got a 5-minute, 12-second lead over Matthias now. And he's ahead of Kevin Benavides. But if you look at the leaderboard, it's incredible. It's nuts.
Yeah.
What have we got? We've got the familiar names.
How close is it in the overalls? It's super close again. It's closed up a bit.
It's completely closed up. Look at the gap on stage. 12 minutes between 1 and 10. There's nothing in it. But have a look at how things swung today. Nacho Corneo takes the stage on the Honda. Kevin Benavides in KTM. He comes in second, but he's only 44 seconds behind Nacho. Joan Barreda, he's Honda, 2 minutes 51. Luciano Benavides' brother on Husky, 7 minutes behind them. Then you've got Santolino coming straight back on the Sherco, and Joaquin Rodriguez is the only, no, he's the Aaron's on a hero. So you've only got one Husky, and you've now only got one Gas. So they are out there on their own against these tag teams. Ricky Brabeck pops up into 7th place. Andrew Short, Rossi's teammate, in 8th. Toby Price back into the top 10 with Adrian Van Beveren in 10th. Adrian is laying a really good groundwork for the overall. So then right off the pace, you've got Quintanilla on the Honda, Rossi in 12th on the Yamaha. And who are our next two? Mason Klein, our rookie, again, Baz Dakar. on a 450 rally replica bike is in 13th. Bradley Cox, 20th, and Aaron Murray on the second hero in 22nd. Matthias and Sam, 24th, 28th. Just shows you what happens when you open the road, Colin.
I've sort of tried to get my head around, watching the guys through the day, and on the early parts of the stage, the order stays roughly in number order, and then from sort of halfway to 2/3, it's just like spaghetti, and it flies. Yeah, it's.
They're going to chase. They're going to chase. There were definitely issues with navigation today. Yes. You could see it between waypoint 7 and waypoint 8, both cars and the bikes. But I mean, if you look at the overall, we're going to come back to our Southern Africans, but it's just that the overall is so incredibly exciting right now. You've got Yamaha top of the log, Adrian van Beveren, brilliant riding. His strategy has been spot on. Matthias Wagner falls back to 5 minutes 12 behind the leader. KTM right in there on the podium still. Kevin Benavides 5:23 behind Adrian. Sam Sunderland obviously lost the lead today. He's dropped back a wee bit, but he opened, so it's going to happen. Lorenzo Santolini Shoko, he has been there and thereabouts right through from stage 1A. Pablo Quintanilla on the Honda, straight in with Joan Barreda Bort. Stefan Svitko, Nacho Corneo pops into the top 10. Now we've been watching Nafik. He rides with Ricky Brabeck. They hunt as a pack. Andrew's holding on to his 10th. Andrew Short from Yamaha, 28 minutes behind Adrian. So that elastic band is still stretching. It's stretching. But right outside the top 10,
Andrew Short
Toby, Mason, Ricky.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, Andrew Short, he's got to look after Adrian van Beveren and carry all the spares, make sure he's got the stuff, and he's his water boy, because there's one Yamaha up against all the KTMs in their various guises. Some KTM self-identify as gases and others as
Don't go down that road.
No, apparently
Look, I have no doubt that Ross is going to put his body on the line for the team. With Adrian van Beveren and Andrew Short in that top, the Ross is going to race to win stages, but he's definitely going to be there as a water carrier. Andrew is also racing for the win. They've got a tough time on their hands because tomorrow is another stage that can be targeted. And if you look at where Toby's finished, where Ricky Brabeck has finished, those guys are absolutely in the hunt. They're in the hunt, and they've got team members on that course that can help them through it.
As we go through the show, we're talking about the highlights of the bikes. We're going to address the South Africans on the bikes. We're going to have a look at highlights of cars, some of the stuff. We've got quite a few clips and interviews. Keep your questions coming for Andrew. Then we're going to go to bringing in you, our viewer, for a general discussion. So, Steffi, just hold that highlight. We're going to go to Andrew, and then straight from Andrew, we'll look at some highlights of the cars, and then come back and talk in some more detail about the motorbikes. What you got, Andrew?
Steffi, you mentioned that they're going to carry spares. And we know with a car, I mean, you can load the hell out of one of these things. Chenille carrying spares for Nasser, for example. They can load the hell out of a Hilux. How much stuff do they pack into one of those riders as a spares carrier, water carrier, whatever the case may be?
Very good question. And the answer is, I have no idea. Nope. But Steffi Vetter knows everything about motorcycle racing at Dakar. So, Steph, what's the answer?
And she brought it up, so, yeah.
Look, not a lot. I mean, obviously, they can't. They've got fuel on board. They've got everything on board. But the fact is that if someone is leading that race overall in the general standings and they need something, I have no doubt that person would sacrifice themselves for their teammate.
We've seen before that, you might carry chain and water and oil and stuff. But essentially, he's got a race machine, and if you've got something that's broken on the one, just like happened with the Audis, Stefan Piet Hansel donated his part, so you take from one, put it on the other, and then wait for the race truck to come. Your race is done, but your guy in overall classification is still there.
You know what the whole thing is, Colin? At this stage, we have no idea what the strategies of these teams are. We're only on stage 7. We've got to get to stage 14. Obviously, strategies are going to come into play in a huge way this week. And I think it's going to start opening up. It's going to start showing its teeth in the next 2 days.
Well, that's what we say we shouldn't speculate, so we won't. Let's go to something that we do know. Let's have a look at the car race. And let's just go straight to the end. Sebi Loeb wins his second special this year from Nasser Al Attiyah and Carlos Sainz. But the dice was right in the beginning. There was they sent Brian Baragwanath and Chris Visser in the 2 Centuries. They were going to go absolutely flat out. We do have a video of the Century, the yellow one of Baragwanath. So I want to give you an idea of what this thing looks like at speed. So they went out with, this is it. Have a full-on go, guys. Just check this out. Love the way it dips as he brakes. All of Chevrolet's mighty horsepowers driving that through. But they're running, this year they got a 1mm smaller restrictor. There was a meeting yesterday, and we are going to talk to Julian Hardy to get the full picture of the meeting. I've seen the pictures of the graphs, and they've got relative performance of the T1 Plus and the Ultimate over here, and there's a distinct gap. You can see the gap. It's not a question, but because the rules is the rules and you can't change your formulas through the year, it looks like the Centuries are a little bit screwed. The surprise of the day, maybe, we knew that they would get it right eventually, and yesterday was a full-on service day and rebuild the cars, is that we ended up with 3 Audi RSQ e-trons in the top 10. Remember, as Audi keep telling us, these are prototype vehicles. They're not for general sale. Do not attempt to buy them. They are driven by highly professional, skilled drivers on a closed course. So it was a really good thing that Audi they brought the cars through. And there's been a lot of speculation, and without getting to know more and more about this thing, after the liaison stage this morning, long liaison, they're now getting ready to race. And the Audi has 2 energy sources. One is hydrocarbon in a tank, and it goes through an energy conversion system. And the other is what's in its battery. So the energy conversion system, aka a super modified DTM turbocharged petrol engine, takes the hydrocarbon or the liquid energy and converts it. Listen to the sounds that this thing makes. We've heard it a little bit when it's going. They've just come from the end of the liaison, and your batteries are a bit pop. So what do you do when you've got a pop battery? You make with the charging. Check this out. It's not a fan, that's the engine. How magnificent is that? So the thing is designed as a energy conversion thing to run super optimally at maximum efficiency of the motor, driving the generator to put the electricities into the batteries. And I love the step of the motor and all the rest of it. So anyway, they come. Third was Carlos Sainz. 4th, Stefan Peter Hansel. He will be so relieved to get a top 5. And then Matthias Ekstrom. Watch that boy. He's going to win this race eventually in 8th.
Such a versatile driver. Whatever he's done, he's done well, which is so cool.
So the ones you're asking of is Henk Lateghan and Janelle de Villiers. And Henk and Brett Cummings, they went out and they were pinning it. And right at the beginning, they were popping up in the leaderboard. Janelle was running strongly, and Janelle was ahead of them on the road. And then Janelle stops. and we don't know why. And then Henk stops. You follow on the map, and you get the two of them, and they end up stopping. So they came in eventually 38th and 47th on the stage. It doesn't matter the position. They basically lost. Janil lost an hour. Henk, it doesn't matter how much time he's lost. He's so far out of it. But Janil was up there racing for probably second, but we don't know. So what actually happened was that there was a pipe in the oil system, oil cooler, that blew off, and it was on the pressure side, and it blew oil all over the place. There's about 12 odd liters in the thing, and it pumped it all out. So they shut it down, did some repairs, and then they needed some oil. And we've got some stories on where they got the oil from. The other one who was really quick from a South African point of view was Chris Visser and Brian Baragwanath in the Centuries. But they both ran into navigation problems. Chris had a really, really nice little interview where he tells the story of their stage and exhibits and shows the true spirit of what Dakar is all about. Check this out.
Chris, start first now. What happened?
No, it's fine. I'll talk. We had a good stage today. In the morning we actually wrong started on one of the mountains a little bit, not much. And then we found the route again, everything good from there. And then one or two waypoints we battled a little bit. Got to Janil, he was stationary next to the road. He lost all his oil in the engine, so he gave me all the oil. So all our oil is a little bit far away, so we had to take the spheels and everything out the car to get to the oil. So we lost a little bit of time there, I think. To be honest, it was a good day. At the end, it was very good. No complaints on the car. We need a little bit more power.
Right.
Super tricky day for us. Like Chris said, 3 waypoints that we struggled with. Honestly, our tracks are the only ones I could see on a couple of them, but I know the other guys did quite well, so just very difficult to get through those two. And hope Janil got home, I'm sure he did, and he owes us a beer now, I reckon. That's about it.
2 beers.
2 beers.
Cool, guys, thanks.
Yeah, interesting pairing there, Chris and Rodney, but you know, the fact that they will stop, sacrifice a bit of their stuff for another South African kind of speaks wonders. To finish Janil's story, they ended up getting enough oil to run it, but it wasn't enough to run it safely, and it was running low on right-hand bends, and the oil pressure was going really low. We hope they haven't hurt the motor, but worst case scenario, they'll check the oil, analyze the oil, and they're able to replace bits and pieces on the inside of the motor. The block you can't change without a massive penalty. So they'll want to...
If it had picked up on a bearing, surely over that amount of time, that would have...
It's a Toyota. It can run with 0 oil pressures and run forever. I mean, a Toyota Bucky's only run in at about 300,000 kilometers. So what are the comments that we're getting there?
We've got Bernard van den Doel and Cassie Kruger both saying, you know, very disappointed about Henk and Chanel because they were both going really well and would have been right up there. And I think that's the sad part about it, you know, they've really, But and then Cassie Kruger's asking, do all these cars use the same rating of oil? I think when you're stuck in the middle of the desert, you grab what you can get and make do. Yeah,
it's, you know, when you, very much so. They're all high-performance racing oils. For the rest of the South Africans, Shami Variawa had another strong run. He finished 12th. They got a little bit lost, and they had a puncher. And Glenn, if you take the getting lost time away, Glenn will be saying to him, well, you should have finished 7th or 8th and have a go. You know, they're very high standards in that team. But I think it's an excellent run that came. And the Coronels, I've got to mention the Coronels because they are just absolutely hilarious. Came in 36. Ernest Roberts and Henry Cohn, 39th. They were 46 minutes off the top, and then Skalkberger 62 minutes and 54 seconds came at the end with Henk Janssen and Van Vieren. So that's kind of the highlights of the South Africans. The lead from a South African perspective shrunken a little bit, but it's still massive. But we're going to talk about that later.
Quickly, before we move on from
Yes.
cars, and I know we had this chat a little bit earlier before we went on air, and Thomas Underhay come along and said, wonder what is the fuel/unit per km on the Audis?
Okay, so without having the access to the data, and nobody outside of Audi has got the access to the data, we believe that the tank size on that car is that they run with about 350 litres in it. The race stage lengths have been somewhere in between the 3 hours and the 4 hours mark. So from that we can deduce that it's probably running at somewhere around about 70 or 80 litres per hour to develop the power that it needs to, which correlates to the LMP2 cars and some of the GD3 cars, even though they run lower fuel. So about 70 litres per hour is what it's running. This thing is not accelerating up and down under load all the time, so they'll take the load off, bring it up to its, I'm told, 6,500 revs max efficiency time, then bang on the load, open up the throttle and the boost. So it is super efficient. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was less than the 70 odd litres an hour. But that is from what the talk in the paddock, that's our best guesstimate.
Okay, that's fair.
That we can get to.
Just before we move on from cars, Brendan Kelly says he's noticed that the Hilux is very back heavy, especially in the high-speed dune sections. Are they purposely ballasted for this?
I
Brendan,
don't understand the question, because the weight distribution on those cars is definitely not on the back.
No, I was about to say, I haven't seen that.
What you're seeing is there's a massive amount, there's 350 millimeters of wheel travel, which is about so much. And you'll see the cars are moving around. It's a much softer sprung platform this year because you've got weight, 1,850 kilograms. These things run without fuel and without peoples in it. And if you've got to control that weight as it lands, you've got more distance to control it now, so it's a lot softer. So the car feels, or it may look like it's moving around more. No, the weight distribution is not heavily, there's no ballast in these things. They work very, very hard to get them down to the weight of the car. Yeah, that's a T1 Plus, that thing. That's Janelle de Villiers. That's the one that's got oil all over the inside of it as we speak. You'll see that on the rear-wheel drive cars, they look like they back down, but again, you'll see when they brake, they move around a lot on the platform.
It's squat and dive on your suspension.
Yeah. So when you accelerate, you want some weight to transfer to the back, so it's on a two-wheel drive, so you can get lots of grip. But no, there's no ballast in it. Steffi Vetter, I believe that you have there might be a story that's coming out now and on your bikes. What is the braking stuff that you've got there?
Before we go to that, because it is very important information, I want to talk about our Southern Africans. Okay, because we've talked about the general leaderboard, we've talked about the big guns. Where are our Southern Africans? Because we've been getting a lot of questions on social media about the Malamoto class #1 and also where our other guys are lying. So if you look at the day-to-day, Charon finished in 40th. Charon Moore is doing an exceptional job in the desert right now. I mean, he's a crossover from hard enduro. He's slipped into this like a wetsuit. I mean, it's just right up his alley. John Kelly's lying 56, and we're going to come back to John Kelly. Stuart's lying in 86. He had a hard day. We're going to come back to Stuart. Vanna, Walter, and Paolo are in 97th, 98th, and 117th, respectively. Where are our rookies? Mason and Brad still fighting it out for the rookie position in first and second. But in the Malamoto category, it's getting really, really interesting. So obviously we've talked about Benji Merlot a lot. Now Benji's he's a hardened Dakarian, really. Sharon was fourth on stage in the original bimodal, with JK in 8th and Stuart and Van in 19th and 22nd. Sharon is now lying third overall in the original bimodal class. Fritz, have we got that video that we can roll? Because I'm really impressed with this boy. I think he's doing a sterling job. If we don't have the video right now, let me tell you what's happening with JK. It's coming. Love our Raceday team. Fritz is always on it. So let's take a listen to what Sharon actually says about today's stage.
And yeah, today was stage 7, and it was quite a fast stage again. A little bit of dunes and a couple of canyons and riverbeds as well. So it was a good mix of terrain, but the navigation was really difficult, and I made a couple errors, kind of following other people instead of trusting myself, which was a little bit frustrating. I probably lost about 10 or 15 minutes, but the riding was good and my pace is good. I'm starting to be able to hang with faster riders, which is really good. So yeah, safe, no crashes, happy, and looking forward to 5 more days.
I mean, when you look at how relaxed he is, you can't believe that he's actually raced 7 stages in a rally he's never raced before in his life. I mean, it's insane.
Do you know who he looks like sitting in that camping chair there?
I do tell.
Who does he look like?
Fernando Alonso in Brazil. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I did. He did, but he didn't have his shades on. I think he's got, delivering an absolutely fantastic result. And wouldn't it be so nice to get them right up there in the... Well, I'm still going to go with the Molly Motors. That's how I remember it, and they're crazy.
The Desert Warriors. But you know, we've been talking to Stuart Gregory a lot, our nuts for Dakar, macadamia nut farmer, and Stuart didn't have a great day today. Now, he's had a really easy week in terms of he's been riding with him in himself. He hasn't had any issues. He had a high side today. It was scary stuff. He messed up on navigation. He came back, hundreds of bikers passed him. He then passed them back. He lost time again. He looked really drained at the end of the stage, and I'm hoping that there's not too much damage to the bike and that he can consolidate, get this bike ready and start again tomorrow. Listen to what Stuart had to say about today.
Wait, day number 8 at the car, how was today?
Yeah, it wasn't my best day today. I just didn't really have a good feeling kind of when I woke up this morning. So at about 10 k's I went off the top of a dune. I thought I was going to crash. My airbag was thought I was going to crash, and it deployed, but I somehow landed it. I might have to change my underpants tonight because it was pretty scary. But yeah, I didn't really have a good feel. And then at about 100 kilometers I missed a waypoint, went back, and like 15 guys got in front of me. So it took me 100 k's to pass them all again, and then after I passed them all I got lost again, and then had to pass them all again. So not my greatest day, but you got to take the good with the bad, and hopefully tomorrow's a better day. But we're still going, and one step closer to Jeddah.
Yes, thank you so much.
And interesting listening to that. We've had news just in that John Kelly, JK, has had a very disappointing day. He had a really, really massive crash, a big high side. He's hit his head, his neck is sore. He actually said in the information that we got that he thought he had broken his neck, which is not great to hear, especially when you're riding in the original bimodal class. He's going to have to slow down. He's going to have to ride within himself again. And look, it's a huge shock. His road book was broken. So he rode from kilometer 80 to kilometer 400 without a road book. His Sentinel wasn't working, which is not ideal. We've seen from what's happened in the last 3 stages what happens when a Sentinel doesn't work and we're not going there. But it is dangerous. But the good news is the bike is sorted. He's got parts from Gas. He said it cost him big bucks to get the road book, but the bike is good to go, and he's going to have a good night's rest, and he's going to fight again tomorrow. So come on, JK, you've got this, my boy.
Steffi, do you know if he must have been to physios and Rick and Flick and all sorts of things and full of muscle relaxants to get him sorted for tomorrow? Because what worries me is a bang on the head is never a good thing.
Look, Colin, they're going to look into that really carefully. I mean, obviously they have to. There's incredible medical staff on standby for the guys. They'll probably reassess him in the morning, but at the moment that's all the information that we have. So
Well, that's where the conversation stops.
Absolutely, that's where the conversation stops.
Tell us more about the rest of our boys in the bikes. Where's your favorite in the overalls?
My favorite's in 117th position. If you're talking about my beloved Kalahari Ferrari, I mean, he had blinder of a day. I mean, really, starting in the middle of the pack. I don't know if anybody saw that video that was on our social media page this morning. There he was with Sharon and Stuart and JK, as happy as Larry. I mean, this boy had a crash at 160 kilometers an hour. And there he is with Brian Baragwanath and Donovan from Century Racing, which was absolutely fantastic. Our staffers all looking after each other and checking up and making sure that they're fine. Rossi always amazes me. I think it's his positive attitude and spirit that keeps him going as well. He just doesn't know the meaning of give up. I mean, how do you do that in M12 on a stage? Like, really, it's insane. It's incredible.
Last year with him as well.
Yeah. And my favorite, number 90, he's Danilo Petrucci. He's gone.
He's also down there with Rossi. No. What can I say? These MotoGP riders. No, he's in 118th position. He had an okay day today as well. Look, he's got to be sore. That injury was to his elbow, and it can't be easy fighting a massive bike across the desert. Ricky Brabeck said today that it was fast, it was tricky, and there were camels, lots of camels. So those boys had to have their act together in a big way. Sam didn't have a good opening stage, Sam Sunderland. He said it was really, really difficult. He was a bit rattled after Chucky's accident as well. So he was doubting himself. And I think when that doubt sets in when you're navigating and you're opening the road, I think he was actually quite happy when Matthias Volkner on the KTM caught him. That's just what I'm thinking, because they rode together for a long way. And when you are playing Russian roulette and it is a turkey shoot, it is always good to, even if they're on, what can I say, KTM gas. You have to know they've ridden together before. So it's been a really, really hard day out there.
Well, I'm told that 5 out of 6 times a Russian roulette is a success. It's just that one time where it doesn't go so good. While we're talking about bikes, tomorrow evening we've got Rob Portman as our in-studio guest, and he comes from the wheels of the Two Kind. And Steffi, here's a challenge for you. Let us see if we can. There must be a MotoGP rider there. The Rob Portman loves MotoGP. There must be some way that anyway, let's wishes.
Rob only likes
let's
two
see
riders.
If we can get Danilo Petrucci to talk to us tomorrow. Are we going to do the overalls of the bikes now, Steph?
Yeah, let's go there. Let's see where it all ended today before we go on to our new technology.
So I'm just looking. I should have worn my blue shirt because my blue boy is still there. But the Hondas are coming 6th and 7th with Pablo Quintanilla and Jean Borré de Bort. They're still there, and the time is tight. 8 minutes off the top.
8 minutes off the top, 28 minutes between the top 10, Colin. I mean, you couldn't get a better race. It's really set up for a gunfight this week. Adrian van Beveren right in the lead. He's been riding for 23 hours, 45 minutes and 2 seconds. It's absolutely nuts. Matthias Volkner rode with Sam today. He's dropped down a wee bit, so he's placed in second, 5 minutes out off the lead. Kevin Benavides, the Red Bull KTM factory racing team, right up there on the podium, still 5:23 off the leader, with Sam on the gas, Sam Sunderland, who's relinquished the lead to Yamaha, losing 5 minutes, nearly 6 on the lead, sorry. Lorenzo Santolino, he's putting up a really good show. This boy's been rock solid. He's there every night. We talk about him every night. And then here come the Hondas. Pablo Quintanilla on the Honda, 8 minutes 15 off the lead. Joan Barreda on the Honda again, 8 minutes 33 with a 1 minute penalty. He's going to fight back tomorrow. But you mustn't forget they're tag teaming. So two play today, 2 play tomorrow. Stefan Svitko on the Privateer Slavnat Rally Team bike is only 20 minutes off the lead, and as we can see, anything can happen. And then, you know what, I have really got a soft spot for Nacho. I think I just like saying the name, but Nacho Corneo on the Monster Energy Honda, 26 minutes 37 off the lead, with Andrew Short rounding out the top 10 on the Monster Energy Yamaha Rally Team. It's going to be a cracker of a week. It's going to change again.
How it is, it's moving. It's fun. We called it today's moving day. One of the cars, Steffi, that we didn't talk about was Daniel Schroeder and Ryan Bland. At the time,
I was going to come to
when we were going on air, they hadn't come in. We knew that they were like 30 k's away. Nobody knew what was going on, but sources tell me. Thank you, Justin Allen, for the WhatsApp. And I've got to read this to you because I couldn't remember all these changes. Daniel and Ryan broke a drive shaft at about 160 kilometers into the stage, and they opted not to put the spare in. 120 kilometers later, they got stuck and struggled to get out. Struggle to get out translates to the clutch has taken a beating. I think they fitted the spare drive shaft into the car, and about 30 kilometers later, they had a slipping alternator built. So the car wasn't charging, and it ran. So they sorted that out. They are now towing another competitor to the end of the stage. How cool is that?
Where are they, Colin? Where are they? Like, have they reached ASS?
Yes, they've just crossed the end of the stage. So they have a drama-full day with issue after issue after issue. And then do the Dakar spirit thing. You tow somebody else in. I think that is... I like that spirit. I
think we should give them driver of the day, Colin.
Absolutely.
I think we should give them driver of the day.
Absolutely.
The spirit of the Dakar, full front and center.
We'll vote for it. We're still coming to our... we've got to do some cars and the overalls and what this means for the thing. And then we're going to try our new bit of technology and get all sorts of people going on. So Fritz whispered in his dulcet tones, he's got the location of the Daniel Schroeder car, but they have, from a timing point of view, they've crossed the end of the stage, and the timing confirms that they've crossed the end, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, we had a nice message in from Johan van Deventer saying, refresh your timing because they're in, and that was while Steffi was telling us the bike news. So it's great that...
I love it when people share stuff. I mean, we're trying to talk and not do the stuff. Right,
That's
let's go to overalls. Was it
your Johan? Yeah, I was going to say it. Steffi's Johan.
Southern Africa Dakar Group Johan.
If there's anything about timing and positions, do not doubt him. Listen to him before you listen to the computer, because the oak is clever and he's sharp.
Quick question, if the guy that they've towed across the line, is it a valid finish? Yes, it is.
Of course it is, because in the spirit of Dakar, he crossed the line.
Yes, it is, absolutely. Fix it and go again.
The overalls. And the overalls have shrunken, but still, 44 minutes on any normal Dakar. You would say there was a 44-minute lead and 59 seconds. Call it 45 minutes. Nasser Al Attiyah has over Sebastian Loeb. You would think that that's very, very safe. We've got a stage coming tomorrow that they say is going to be massively tricky. So he's got to be of issue there. Then we've got so in the top four we've got 3 Toyotas, and one of them is the turbo car, and Yazid Al Raji and Lucia Alvarez. They've got the V8s, which sounds so like, and Jakob Przgonski is in the Mini, the buggy. Then the second Pro Drive Hunter is in the top 10, which is I think a very, very credible result. Janil in 9th. He's 1 hour 47 off the lead, but he's about 32 minutes off 3rd place, or 4th place. So that 32 minutes, we've seen him claw back that in time. So if the motor's good and he has it clean.
And also, you know, that anything can happen. You know, in that top 10, anything can happen.
Now, Chris Visser is in 16th. He's 2 hours or an hour off the top 10. He's in. He's 16th. He's the lead of the centuries, which is really cool. Just ahead of Shami Beriawa and not Dennis Murphy. He was with Shimindani Stassen.
Yeah. They had a good day today as well.
Very good day.
They had a really good day again.
Super
They're getting more and more consistent. They seem to be finding their feet.
And then Brian Baragwanis and Leonard Kramer, I think they gelling a lot more. I've just put in some of the others just as a position from a timing point of view. Henk Ladegan still in the race, 10 hours 22 behind. Ernest Roberts, 12 hours 59 behind. Stefan Peter Hansel, 66 hours 20, but he hasn't been racing for the 66. 46 hours of that is penalty. And then Skalkberger their official race time is 107 hours 13 minutes, but 66 of that is penalties. Remember, they didn't finish the one stage. They get penalties for putting a motor in and for not going past the waypoints. Now, I want to just talk about, before we go to our peoples, is talk about some trucks, because everybody asked about the trucks. And
we're not great at trucks, are we? Let's be honest.
I've got to learn my Russian. Dmitry Stotnikov and Ruslan Akhmadiev. It's not, don't make me laugh, please. And then Ilgiz, I'll just call him my mate Ilgiz, in the Kamazes first. But what I really want us to look at, there's a picture, a thing of the start, and Fritzy's going to get it for us. This is the overall time at the end of Friday, and it's got all the positions of all the things with four wheels on it. So it's cars and trucks and quads and side-by-sides and lightweight prototypes. So there you'll see in the lead, in first place, is Nasser Al-Attiyah. And then let's just scroll carefully down. And the 11th fastest vehicle with wheels in this race is our friend Dmitry Ilgiz, and Russian is his name. In 11th position overall is a Kamaz Master truck. And 12th is another truck. And so we go, this is how fast the trucks are. Right, back to conventional programming. The trucks, they are magnificent beasts of the desert.
Another question we had, and something we've also really slacked on this year, Dakar Classic. They made a really big noise about it last year and less of a noise this year. But we've had questions, is it happening this year? Yes, it is. They are doing it. It seems to be a little more subdued.
Yeah,
and
there's
we've
a
had
wonderful
such bumper shows, we haven't
There's
really
a
been able to cover
Porsche
it.
9, a Rothmans Porsche, and I wonder if Peter can find us that picture of, there's a Citroen. It's not the Citroen that you are expecting. This is a classic Citroen. So the classic doesn't follow the same route. It follows a much more gentlemanly route, a route that is more suited to some of these priceless cars. And there's a wonderful clip that we'd prepared for a couple of days ago, and I'm waiting for the hand signal that says, well, I can't find it, but we will get it tomorrow. Right, so now we're going to try some crazy stuff, because this is race day, and this is, we try to push the bits of technology. And
never been done before.
I do not know who we have, but we said, would you like to join us on a Zoom call? And I believe there were a couple of takers. So we've got Corne, Peter, Jan, and Nklantla. I hope I've got your names all right.
Proper fan, he comments
Corne,
all the time.
Peter, I've got to just write everything down here. So welcome to Race Day, chaps. Welcome to the Dakar show. And thank you very much for joining us. Me, Colin, him, Andrew. On my picture, I think that is Corne, that is Peter, that is Jan, and let me guess, Nklantla. I think I got it right. Welcome, guys.
With a motor.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, how's it?
Thank you.
Lekker.
Nklantla, I like your shirt. It's a proper Dakar shirt.
Oh, thank you. It's a Yamaha.
Oh, I thought it was Motul.
There you go.
Ross Branch fan. There we go.
So clearly, you're really hoping that the position in the bikes is maintained and that the Yamaha just comes through and wins. Adrian van Beveren is your boy.
Hopefully. hopefully, I think they are a win. I think they will win. It'll be good to get them in the win. It's good for them to win. Yeah.
That'll be fantastic. Right, where are all you guys from? So we've got Pretoria, Eastern Cape, and Klankler, where are you?
Midrand.
Midrand. And Peter Anker, you in Centurion?
That's correct.
And Jan,
Colin,
yeah, go Peter.
I got some news from the bivvy. Daniel and Ryan, the engine also overheated today.
That's never a good sign when the engine overheats. So I guess the WCT guys have got a bit of work to do tonight.
90 k's to the bivvy.
Justin said he'd send us the story when they got there. Corné, I love that hat of yours. You do know, for everybody else who's watching, that hat that Corné is wearing is the first Raceday cap in the history of the world that has been released into the wild. He won it in a prize, so yes, we do have, we deliver the prizes, and it's a lovely hat. That. Are you still happy with it, Corné? Did you take it off last night?
Yes, thank you, Colin. Well, it's got a special place in my cupboard, let me put it that way.
That's good to hear.
Awesome. The other, in my geographans, Jan, where are you, whereabout are you, Jan?
Right now I'm in Tel Aviv, but I'm an old Krugersdorp boy.
Yeah, there you go. K-Dorp, lovely town. Welcome
all
to
the races.
Welcome to Raceday from Tel Aviv. We don't hear too many bombs, so it must be pretty good there.
Yeah. I can hear you, huh?
Lovely. That was just a...
Even
guys, what do you think of this race so far? Just go for it. Loosen up. We just talk, pretend we're around a braai and we're 19 brandies into it. What are you guys thinking of the race so far?
Well, I think it's an absolute brilliant race. I mean, so many things happening, and the surfaces and the big tires and the technology and those damn Audis. Wow.
Yeah, we can only say wow with those Audis. I think they're technological masterpieces. Some of us might not like the electric part of it, which is the way of the world. It's going there. Personally, I love it. From a max, the power is just instant.
Well, Carl Snell came in and said, let's be honest, that what Audi is doing is the future.
Yeah.
The sound of the race car is not what we like, but how fortunate we are to watch two of the world's best in the electric machines.
Yeah, I think it's
amazing stuff.
I'd also go with 3 on it. So
I agree with you.
What's the rest of the guys think about the electrics?
I think it sounds cuck, but the technology is amazing.
Yeah, I think you probably, that's the word. Steffi, would you agree with that? What are we going to do when electric bikes come in?
No, listen, I'm just hoping they put a different soundboard in, but I have a question for Nklantla. Nklantla, I don't know if I've got the right Nklantla, but are you not a huge Century Racing fan?
You're very right. Quite a while back. I bought the first CR6, so I got it in the first CR6.
I thought it was you. How are you? Are you well?
I'm good.
It's great to have you on the show.
You know everybody.
Right?
It happens, Colin.
Steffi knows everybody.
Yeah.
I want to talk to Peter. You, from a technical point of view, as an engineer on rally cars and racing cars, what are you picking up out of these things? And from your point of view, what are you feeling about this race?
Colin, I'm just proud of everything that's coming out of South Africa at the moment.
Yeah.
Like you, I'm also getting old, so I love the petrol stuff still.
So glad I didn't
Sorry,
say
you
that
broke
word.
up. I thought you
Audi,
said that.
We just did
With
speak
the
of
Audi
the race.
technology, it's amazing.
And the level of work they've done on the aerodynamics, never mind the motor and the electrics and all that other stuff, but the bodywork, the aero, they've gone hunting to take drag away from that thing.
Yeah, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
But something that also came out, Colin, the Audis dropped so much weight, but you can see they've got some subtle failures, and the off-road race is not a DTM race.
Yeah.
But I think, they've still got to come in at the minimum 2,000 kilos for the T1 class.
That's the minimum weight that there is.
Yeah.
They can't get there. They're sitting at about 2,150 at the moment, 2,150 to 2. It's a hard slog to bring a petrol thing down to, and a non-turbo car down to 1,850. Then when you put turbos and with all its more complex cooling in it, it's a battle to get to.
I've sat and tried to save weight on track racing cars, and you can go absolutely berserk with where you save weight. I mean,
if they get that thing to chop another 150 kilos out of it, it's going to be lightning.
But if you see them in the dunes, I mean, the car is so smooth. I mean, they're absolutely. It looks like the suspension is just doing its work.
Jan, I agree with you, and I think that this is year one of the race. We've seen, they definitely have got the speed. We see that by the results from today. The speed on individual stages is not that much, but I mean it gets you to climb up the overall. Carlos Sainz is in 20th, 3.5 hours, call it 4 hours off the lead. This year they'll win some more stages for sure, in my mind, but next year, let us be careful. And as the year goes on, in the other races in the World Championship, let's be careful of that. We've got to keep an eye on them. They're going to be spectacular.
I think it's also difficult to drive. With that instant torque, it must be very, very tough to, you've got to get used to that package.
I think they would have adapted pretty quick on that, Jan. From if you take the whole of all the experience that Audi had in the Formula E, there are all sorts of algorithms that they can put in there, and with the control systems in it, effectively they've got traction control because they can measure all the wheel spin and dial in the absolute right, because they're German and everything has to be completely precise. They will have the number that they need for the wheel spin in different types of sand, and they will dial that number in and the car will deliver it and they'll have maximum performance. I love the technology and the precision that these guys bring.
Another interesting fact for me is that the small wheel Toyota V8 is still in there, and the minis with the small wheels. I thought the bigger wheels were going to do such a massive difference.
Yeah, but on the overall, Alvarez and Yasid, they're in T1 pluses, but not the turbo one. They've got the V8 engine in it, but they got the big wheels.
But even the minis are small wheels, I think.
Yeah, the buggy mini is a big wheel, but in 10th position, Halpern is there with a normal mini. But it's.
Do you know what the link to Alvarez is? Another South African link for you. I mean, he's driving Toyota, but Rob Howie
navigated for Luciano Alvarez.
Yeah,
yes.
That was my little.
Very good, Andrew.
I pay attention.
I think it was race 4 in 2014. Am I wrong? 2014 Dakar. I think it was in the 4th.
2014 Dakar. I think that's right. I think McLaughlin's right.
Sorry, the sound was just breaking up a lot in Klankla. The question was?
I'm saying this show raised 120 with NWM in 2014.
Oh, Neil Woolridge, really?
No, yeah, with Chris yeah.
Interesting. That
This
is
so
really
cool
interesting.
that people come join us and teach us. We've got to get you into the studio. You can teach me a whole lot more about these things. Toyota Overdrive, De Villiers, von Zitzwitz, Polter Howie, Ford, Alvarez, there you go. And you're totally correct. In 2014, Ford was Alvarez and Grau and Van Loon, Rossegear. And I'm impressed. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Klaus Kruger says those Audis would really go if they could get the electric motors to run directly off the generating unit.
Yeah, but that was the trick that they brought in.
It has to have batteries.
You can't take the generator and bypass the battery.
Exactly.
Because it's like mainlining, and you've got to have control.
Just hoing.
No, you can't just hoy. It's like, at least pour the dop in the glass first and then have a drink. Don't just like chug it out of the bottle. No mix, yeah. So they've got the control effectively that they've got is the number of watts or amps,
yes,
or whatever.
Correct.
And I need someone to teach me about electric cars.
Another one from, talking of Audis, from Al Camino, one of our loyal viewers. Are we going to hear anything from Tay Perry on our show?
Yeah, but we will. No,
it's a bit difficult.
She can't talk to us because we don't have the ability of getting to talk to her, because now that she is the chairman, they have another way of doing things. The 20th position, 27 hours, 27 minutes, and 37 seconds off the top. But it's not an Audi, it's a modified Peugeot. And then next year, they're going to start with the electricals cars and go with hydrogen and stuff that I don't understand. Fuels of the future.
You put hydrogen in and you get water out and it goes forward and faster.
Hydrogen in the one side, water out the other side, and electricity out of the other side. And then you just go like smoke.
Yeah, apparently.
I always thought it was gin and tonic.
I can like that. I can like that. Guys, it's getting close to the end of the show. I want to thank you all. Peter, Corneille, and Klankla, and Jan, for joining us. We're going to try this again in a slightly different format. But thank you for being part of our product development and our research things. And we value your input. We will make sure that we get some kind of a hamper of some sorts to each of you. Thank you so much for your input, and Klankla. You schooled me tonight. Thank you for the knowledge. Jan, enjoy Tel Aviv. Corneille, let Centurion rock. And Peter, we'll see you at a race, a rally, or somewhere in the future. Guys, have a good evening, and we'll get back to normal programming. Cheers, guys.
Lekker, guys. Thanks.
Steffi,
Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.
Steffi Vetter, don't say that we don't bring new things to excite you. You look so impressed, Steffi.
Can't wait to get to Wadi Al Dawasir tomorrow. Maybe we can say Auf Wiedersehen for the night.
Yeah, we're about to get going. You've got important things to do. Wadi Al Dawasir, it is how many kilometers, Steph? It's not...
4 racing and I think 434 Ks of liaison.
Yeah, 300. And the thing that I'm worried about is the long liaisons and sand-packed menu going into the southern part. Makes one of those stages that drag on. And you know what they're going to bring? Horrible, horrible navigation. It's going to be an interesting day.
They've been there before. Don't forget, down in Wadi Al Dawasir last year, 2021. So I think it's going to be familiar to a lot of people, but I think David Castor is going to pick out the hat. He's going to, I think the nav is going to be really late tomorrow, and the road full tumble off the leaderboard, and they're going to, the chasing pack is going to come back in. But again, every day has been different. We do know it's going to bring, so we're going to have to see.
Yeah, we're going to have Nasser taking things conservatively. The rest of the Toyota pack are there to support him and make sure that he's got all the bits and pieces that he needs. You've got Audi that want to shoot the lights out and have some win. You've got Loeb who's busy nipping straws because the rest of the Toyotas are coming from him. He wants it second. He's got to get it to the end. It's all up for play. It's fantastic. It's brilliant. Join us again tomorrow at 7 o'clock, 19 hours South African Standard Time. We'll have the modified time for you later. Andrew Horn, thank you so much for your job.
Thank you, Colin.
Fritz and Henk and Peter and Lamige, who is the new man on the team. Thank you very much, Steffi. Veta, have some fun. To you who watched, respect, have fun, be nice, and welcome back to a new working year. Join us tomorrow. Cheers.